All right, it's time to stop. This has gone far enough. Justin Bieber has just purchased a Bored Ape NFT. I think I saw he paid over $1.3 million for a JPEG. I mean, this is worse than what were those things? The Beanie Babies. I still have some. I was actually a baby when when the Beanie Baby craze was going on, and so my parents bought a bunch of them, and I think they're still in a closet somewhere. But of course, nowadays they're worthless. They're not worth millions of dollars. Although even the Beanie Baby craze, I don't think that you saw. No, you definitely didn't see the level of absurdity that we've got with the NFTs. And before the cultists come in and say, "Oh no, you just don't understand, man. It's scarcity, okay? There's only one of them. It's scarcity." I'm very let me say conversant with the topic. I understand the concept of fungibility or a lack of fungibility. Monetary theory is one of my top interests, just as a person. It's one of the things that I nerd out about the most. And so yes, I understand how your little JPEG of a monkey is different from let's say Bitcoin or Ether or something like that. I understand. Yes, your point is, oh, okay, well, yeah, we can easily reproduce the Mona Lisa, but to buy the Mona Lisa, that's worth a lot of money. But please take a step back and look at the insanity that is fueling the rise in prices of your little monkey cartoon. And yes, I know NFTs are more than monkey cartoons. That's just what I keep seeing all over Twitter, and I hate the art style. It's hideous. And so the monkeys are what pushed me over the edge. And yes, I know they're supposed to be chimps. They're apes. They're not monkeys. I'm calling them monkeys to denigrate them. I see Paris Hilton on the Tonight Show, and she and Jimmy Fallon are comparing their apes, and the masses are just lapping this up. And then you see the nitwit, as Don Imus called her, Gwyneth Paltrow, the woman who promoted, I think, putting hot rocks into your female cavity, which, by the way, you shouldn't do. And I think she also promoted maybe shooting hot steam in there. I believe it was called boofing or something. Don't take this woman's advice, and she's telling you to buy NFTs, just so you know. There are crazy people on the internet who are, just talking about how, oh my gosh, look, I like all these things. I want to buy them. I want to buy them. These are people with not OCD, but what do they call it? There is a disorder with people who have a compulsive shopping. And then the rest of the people buying these things are young kids on TikTok who are looking to get rich quick. That's the NFT market in a nutshell. You've got grifters like celebrities and athletes either getting paid to shill this stuff, like Gwyneth Paltrow probably is, like Jimmy Fallon probably is, and Paris Hilton probably is, and all these people, when you see celebrities, promoting these things, I mean, they're part of their business model. Kim Kardashian pioneered this. She would post a picture to Instagram or Twitter of her putting lipstick on, and you could see the brand name of the lipstick in the picture, and then all of a sudden people would rush to go and buy that lipstick. And it's a pretty easy way for them to make money. Gwyneth Paltrow changed her avatar on Twitter to her silly little monkey. That's more than just a tweet. I bet you that cost quite a bit of money. So those are the grifters. Then you have the crazy people who just feel the need to buy these things because they're told, oh my gosh, it's scarce. That's a cool looking picture. If I don't buy it now, it'll be gone, and then I'll never be able to afford it. You've got them. Oh, and then there's a fourth group. I forgot. I'll have to get to them. So you've got those people who are just compulsively and obsessively buying these things and hoarding them, even though you could just click, copy and paste, or screen cap or whatever, and have a copy of this picture yourself. Then you've got the get rich quick schemers who are buying them up and then trying to sell them for double, triple, 1,000x. And then you have these hodlers who buy them thinking that they're going to get rich quick. And then somebody offers them an absurd amount of money, like this guy I saw on, on Twitter. He lives in a 750 square foot apartment, he says, with his girlfriend and his dog. And somebody offered him $476,000 for his ape. But he said, you know what? No, that thing it's a part of him. That's who he is. That thing being worth money, that's, how could he sell that? That's his identity, is that I own this really expensive JPEG. And so this is a classic mania. You have maniacs who are participating in it. You have grifters. You've got, greedy get-rich-quick schemers. That's all this is. I'm not saying that NFTs will disappear and that they're not scarce or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Yes, I understand. They're scarce like a painting, and that you can copy the painting, but you can't have the original, if you want to put it that way, sure. But those paintings have hundreds of years of valuation behind them. They're kind of, they're not steady in that they are skyrocketing too, but they're not skyrocketing like these NFTs, which are a brand new thing and have no history, which, 5 years from now, people probably won't even remember. No one will care about your ape, and that somebody offered you $476,000 for them because, 5 years from now, he'll be lucky to get $1 for it, because no one will care. The fad will be over. The Beanie Babies will be in the dumpster. So if you got any of these things, and they're worth anything, cash in right now. Get out of this, market. And I'm putting that in scare quotes, because you should be scared. It's funny for me when it happens to other people, but it's not funny for you when you lose your money. People wonder why there's a labor shortage in this country. It's because people are sitting at home thinking that they can get rich quick, buying cryptos or NFTs or whatever, and that they're gonna Safe Moon's gonna go to the moon, right? And then you can retire at age 21 and drop out of college or whatever, which that's a good idea, dropping out of college. You'll be better off working for those 4 years rather than accumulating debt. But people aren't doing that. People don't want to go get jobs. People don't want to, start a career. And I don't want to begrudge people having higher aspirations. But that's not what you're doing by a get-rich-quick scheme. It is the equivalent of people going around digging for Confederate gold. Now, that's not something people do anymore. But it used to be a very common thing in the South. It was a trope in movies. The idiot who doesn't want to work hard, and so he just goes around with treasure maps looking for Confederate gold. There's a good movie about the Old South called The Long Hot Summer with, I believe, Paul Newman from the 50s, maybe. And in that film, the local landed aristocrat, can't remember his name, he lived in his big plantation house. And was the big man in town, small town, big man. He wanted Paul Newman to marry his daughter and, take over his family because his eldest son was such a disgrace and a disappointment. And one of the things that his eldest son did, he just screwed up everything. He would cry and he'd just whine and bitch. He was I'm sure he was raised wrong. But anyway, one of the stunts he pulls is he goes digging under the house, looking for Confederate gold because he was tricked into thinking it was there, and that, oh my gosh, then my father will finally respect me because I will have, made us even richer. And this movie was only 90 years or so removed from the Civil War. The old man of the house, he'd know if the Confederates, if his family had buried money under there. It wasn't true. And he told his son that. He said, you're an idiot. You're getting caught up in all this excitement because you don't want to work hard, because you don't want to be a real man. You don't want to grow up. And he cried and cried. And that was, the point in the movie where that character was finished. He'd come full circle. He'd completed his arc. And he was recognized as a total failure of a man. And so don't be that guy. I'm not saying, go sit in your wagey cagey from 9 to 5 for the rest of your life. What I'm saying is find a real way of producing value and trying to better yourself, and and better your community. That's how you get ahead in life. You create value for other people, they'll give you their money. It's that simple. And that's not simple, but I mean in concept, it's that simple. What isn't simple is figuring out how to do that. That's why the people who do figure it out are able to make a lot of money. Now, there are also people who make money in less straightforward ways, like get-rich-quick schemes. There are also people who just get rich by, monopolizing something. And so when they have no competition, they can, demand whatever price they want for whatever good or service they're providing. But being a monopolist only works if you've got a product that people want to buy. If you're monopolizing a JPEG of a monkey, that's great as long as people want your monkey. But when this fad fades and Gwyneth Paltrow is no longer, has a monkey avatar on Twitter, and Paris Hilton isn't going on The Tonight Show and hawking these things, and Jimmy Fallon isn't hawking these things, and Justin Bieber isn't dumping over 1.3 million on them. You think that there's going to be as much excitement? You think you're going to be able, that market's going to be so liquid for something that is non-fungible? Do you even, have you ever considered why money is fungible? It's fungible because that makes it easier to trade away, because people can, generally, they know what they're getting. You can have a broad market for these things. If you've got a 1 ounce gold coin, it's a 1 ounce gold coin. You know what you're getting. It doesn't change. You can, weigh the value of that against other goods over time. And, to the same extent, in theory, the same would apply to Bitcoin. Bitcoins are fungible. A Bitcoin is a Bitcoin. If someone, wants to sell their Bitcoin, and lots of people use Bitcoins, there's a lot of Bitcoins being exchanged, your Bitcoin is just like any other, and so you can go and sell it in that market. But if you're trying to sell monkey JPEGs, well, your monkey JPEG is not like any other monkey JPEG. And so you have to find someone who's willing to pay money for your particular monkey JPEG, and what they want to pay for it. When you find someone who says, okay, maybe I'll buy that, maybe they're only willing to offer you $5, and there's no broader market for you to sell into, because the market for your monkey is you. You're it. There's nobody else, to price it against. There is no market price. It's whatever, you find, whatever the other person is willing to pay. And if there's only one person who wants it, then you're just going to have to either accept whatever they offer or hodl it till the day you die. You're not creating value for anybody by speculating on JPEGs, just so you know. It's not a smart way of trying to make money. Could you make money? I guess. It seems like people have bought NFTs and then the value's gone up afterwards. But how long is that going to go on? This is what mania looks like. When the mania ends, prices fall across the board. It's just reality. If you want to take advantage of the mania, that's one thing. There are people who do that. But you got to get out. You got to check out. Otherwise, you're just a bag holder. And then you look really dumb. Then you look like the boy digging under his house looking for Confederate gold. Desperate, pathetic, and unable to produce anything of value. A literal bottom feeder. And I know that can sound harsh. Maybe if an NFTer, which I hope, a lot of NFTers listen to this, you stumble across this, I just say, oh, you're just a hater, you're a jerk, you're a dinosaur, you don't understand, this is the future. There's a lot of people who say those things, and then they lose a bunch of money, like that, who's that? That sad guy. He kind of looked like the dad from Tom and Kate Plus 8, looked like Tom. And he quit his job because his Bitcoin was going up. And he said, yeah, it feels weird getting rich. Now I'll never have to work for the rest of my life. And then guess what happened? Oh, his Bitcoin went down. Oh, he was broke. And then he had no job. He lost his apartment, had to move back in with his dad. And then he got a job as a waiter. That's much more harsh than my words. That guy, he got lucky at first. His get-rich-quick scheme started to pay off. But he didn't know to get out. He didn't realize that he was just lucky. It didn't occur to him that, this, he was playing a dangerous game, and if you win, you got to cash out. Because if you stick around long enough, you're going to lose big time. And you could say, oh, well, maybe it's only for a short time. Look, Bitcoin always comes back and goes higher every time, for the last, a decade or so. Well, do you think that's going to be the case with every single one of these silly little NFTs? Each NFT is its own market. Okay? So just because Bitcoin came back, you think your little monkey with blonde hair is going to come back? You think your monkey with the aviator sunglasses is going to come back? Why? What's the long thesis? Have you ever thought about it? When all these maniacs, when they go broke and they end up in debtor's prison because they mortgaged their house to buy a monkey, a JPEG of a monkey, not even a real monkey. You think that these people are going to be around to buy your silly little thing? You think people are going to buy NFTs if, let's say, interest rates go up and you can actually make money by saving your money and lending it out to people? You think anyone would be buying NFTs then? There's other risky assets that they could buy. If those risky assets weren't getting, snapped up by grannies chasing yield for their retirement account. And yet you have people who are sitting at home not working right now. Not producing anything. Which is, in part, what's leading to, this labor shortage. I think George Gammon makes a very good point when he says that the labor shortage that we're seeing now will turn into a labor surplus as soon as asset prices crash. Which, make no mistake, NFTs, all they are is they're the ultimate risk asset. You go out the risk curve, you start with government bonds, then you go investment grade, investment grade corporate bonds. Then you go corporate junk bonds. Then you go stocks. Then you go real estate. Maybe real estate's less risky than stocks, I'd say. Then you go crypto, further out the risk curve, and then finally, all the way at the end, on the far riskiest end of the risk curve, you've got NFTs. And so when the other risk assets take a plunge, because of what the Fed is doing, what the Fed is saying they're going to do, even though I don't think that the Fed will allow it. I think that there will be too much pain in risk assets for them to do that. Let's say a 20% drop in stocks is going to be, is going to translate, that's going to be amplified in the NFT market and the crypto market. The S&P could drop to 2,800 and your monkey could drop to zero. And it pains me to see these people online, these clueless people who get fooled into this, who know nothing about economics or finance or investing or fundamentals. Saw a horrifying video of a woman looked like to me like she was living in an RV, and she was bawling her eyes out. Apparently she was an AMC stock hodler, and she said Moas is coming, which is apparently the mother of all short squeezes. This is what people tell themselves to help them sleep at night. This woman was fooled, and it's her own fault. Nobody forced her to go out and probably put her life savings in AMC stock. And she's bawling her eyes out, telling her husband or her boyfriend, "Oh, it's going to change our lives." Like trying to pretend like they're tears of joy. They're not tears of joy. It's anxiety. It's sadness. It's depression. That woman's approaching rock bottom. Her life's going to be changed. It's already changed. And not changed for the better. So don't let yourself become a victim of these late cycle manias. And again, this is all Powell's fault. This is because the Fed has allowed the business cycle to go on for as long as it has. They should have ended it a long time ago so that these sorts of excesses, don't occur. Of course, that's all the Fed looks to promote, through their interest rate policy. They want to promote excess. They don't want, ordinary savings and investment. They don't want a market rate of interest, because that would be much higher than it is today, and then people wouldn't speculate so much on risk assets. The inflation of risk assets is the Fed's way of trying to push down the unemployment rate. Because you've got all these people, let's say on the margins, you've got retirees with 401ks who already own a lot of stocks. If their stocks go up 40%, 50%, if they double, if your 401k doubles, maybe all of a sudden you're able to retire a lot earlier than you thought you were going to. So you quit your job. You buy a house in Florida, driving up housing prices here. You go out to eat all the time because you've got all this money. You've got, I had a retired neighbor, crazy guy. He was a plumber in his 50s, I think. And he was talking about how he makes so much money. His stocks go up so much every year. He spends as much as he wants on everything, by brand new vehicles, horses, has a second house, big boat. He says, I spend all the money that I want, and I can't spend everything that I make every year. That was a couple years ago when the stocks were real hot. And stocks have still been red hot. He's still making more money than he could spend. And that's the reason why that guy's no longer a plumber in his 50s. He's retired. There's a lot of people like that. You've got young people who aren't even starting to work because they're saying, well, why would I work when I can retire off of my crypto as soon as it goes up? I'm just going to sit at my parents' house and wait for my monkey to appreciate. And as soon as it hits 10 million, then I'll cash out and I'll retire. Maybe. Those are some of the more reasonable NFT hodlers. And so the result is, these people, if they get surveyed, they say, no, I'm not looking for work, and I'm not employed. And so they're not counted as unemployed, because they're not looking for work. They don't want a job. So the labor force shrinks. Labor force participation plummets even further. It's been in a secular decline for a long time, which has largely to do with the aging population. That's normal to see with an aging population, because old people, get to the point where they can't work. But in the case of America, this is accelerating because you have people who still can work, who stop working because their risk assets appreciate so much, and they make so much money off of that. And so the result is people are sucked out of the labor market, less is produced, and we get inflation. And not just inflation in asset prices anymore. It's inflation in consumer prices. That's where we're at right now. And so, if consumer price inflation is to be dealt with, asset prices may need to be sacrificed. Now, maybe not. Maybe the labor market will come back on its own. Maybe if they just crash the crypto market and not the stock market, maybe. Although, the correlation between Bitcoin and the NASDAQ, it's hard to see how you could crush one and not the other. But anyway, that's all I have to say on that matter for now. I think I've said enough. I think I've vented a bit. And I hope, maybe, just maybe, my words will help somebody not get screwed. So, with that said, I will see you folks back here tomorrow.